Hello everyone and welcome to White Jasmine Everyday Cooking. I'm Huma Siddiqui, and as you know, I love to create simple, easy but delicious recipes. So today we have a wonderful menu. One of my favorites, actually one of my family favorites, is saji meatballs. So my son seems to think, and actually I started to believe it or not, that when I make the meatballs or whatever I cook, he can tell by eating that if I was in a good mood or not. And somehow I thought he was making it up, but I don't know. I started to believe it actually. And I think if the meatballs taste good, then I'm feeling pretty good. So that's the deal for today. And I'm going to make some couscous with some wonderful vegetables. We have some green onions and beautiful zucchini. So look at all this, these fresh vegetables. So I'm going to use that and then make a Mediterranean salad which has tomatoes and some lime juice, red peppers, red onions, and cucumber, and some green onions as well. So it just adds a wonderful flavor on the side to whatever I'm making today. So hang in there. I'm going to start actually with the couscous. So first, well, if you have tried couscous before, we were talking about it earlier, that if you don't add any, like spices or fresh vegetables to it, it's not very tasty. So don't get discouraged if you just make couscous without anything, because it's supposed to be bland at that point. So just use a lot of cilantro, maybe whatever vegetables you want to throw in, and a bunch of spices, and then when you try the couscous, it's delicious. So again, warm up your pan as always, just for a minute or two, and then add some olive oil. As we always talk about, always remember to warm up your pan first and then add your oil, and let it warm up as well, because what happens is that when you add whole spices, how are you going to infuse, how is it going to really infuse the oil? If it's cold, it's just not going to work. So be patient. Cooking is all about patience. Make a cup of tea, put on some music, and just enjoy. That's what it is about. It's really not about stressing over it. So let's add a couple of green cardamoms, a couple of cloves. So all the whole spices go in first, as always. A few cloves, and this is what it's going to do. It's really going to start infusing the oil, and when that happens, your flavors start to work with everything else that you add on top of it. So it's all about layering of the flavors. That's the best part of cooking. Without flavor, it's empty calories. I mean, who wants that? Bland food is not good food, sorry to say. And then some whole cumin, again a very healthy spice and very, very flavorful. And I can start to see that it starts to sizzle, a very good thing. Let's add some vegetables to it. I want to put it on lower heat so that your spices don't get burnt. And then just add a few, like a couple of zucchinis and some green onions. That's what's going to go in here. So keep the skin on because of the color. I love color and flavor. And then just chop it, kind of just small squares probably is a good idea, because it cooks so quickly, you don't really have to worry about it. See how the fresh flavors are going to go in? You almost start to taste all the flavors of the spices and the vegetables. And that's good, because food is supposed to, you're supposed to have a little party in your mouth. And if it's not doing that, then got to start again. That's no good. So even just take, I think most kitchens or your refrigerator will have these ingredients. And that's why I like to create the recipes with very simple ingredients that everybody probably would have them. Just have to, put them together. Just one more. And you will see the color of couscous, the flavors, just be brilliant. And we'll add some green onions. And if I was just cooking for myself, I'll throw in some jalapenos as well. But now that we have an audience to try, I don't know how much heat everybody can take. So try to be careful when I'm cooking for somebody else. But in your kitchen, go ahead and try whatever you like. Whatever your favorite flavors are, you'll just have to enjoy. It's really all about the experience of cooking rather than anything else, you know. So here, all our zucchini is in. All sizzling away. And, you know, couscous cooks in, you know, very little time, maybe like 5 minutes. So it's a good recipe to have for weeknights. When you're pressed for time, just pick on, you know, simple recipes and put the meal together. Some green onions. Then let's add a little bit of salt and some of the spices. I'll show you which one I want to add today. Let's add our tandoori masala. And that has, you know, as we always talk about, it has 13 different spices in it. And again, have a scoop, not just a pinch, because that's not going to do anything. I'll just take the spice back because it's almost offensive to the spice blend. And a little bit of heat, so a little bit of chili powder. Okay. We'll add the couscous and then add some liquid. Just water is fine, but you can add, you know, stock as well if you want to add another layer. And then just some warm water. We'll go in. We'll take a short break. When we come back, the couscous will be ready in about 5 or 7 minutes. We'll make the meatballs, so don't go away. Welcome back to White Jasmine Everyday Cooking. So our couscous is cooking in here. I just want to make the meatballs. So again, you want to warm up your pan on sort of lower heat because I need time to chop my onions as well. So here, I just add some olive oil. I like to make the meatballs in sort of the open pan because it just cooks well. So another good thing to remember is when you're choosing your recipes, so how are you going to make it? So what kind of pan do you need? For rice and for meatballs, I like to use this open pan. It cooks very evenly. So you just kind of, you know, put some thought into it and you'll be fine. Before you know it, you're going to be just happy camper. So as it warms up, add some whole spices, some black cardamoms, couple of those. Add a really nice smoky flavor to it, some green, and then some cloves. And let it sort of, you know, warm up and start to infuse the oil while I'm going to chop the onions. And then we're going to add a bunch of garlic, as always. So, you know, it's just so good for you. Why not? So I'm using just a sweet onion. You can use any other if you like, but with this recipe, it just goes really well. But again, it's, you know, it's your kitchen. You can do whatever you want. I don't care. Just cook some good food. That's all it's all about. You want to follow my recipes or don't want to follow my recipes, it's okay. So that's the idea. So just kind of, I can start to smell the whole spices. Smells just heavenly. And you know, this past holiday season was just amazing. I was in heaven for like 5 days, literally, because lots of cooking. My family was around. I love that stuff. And you know, house is nice and warm and the food is there. Everybody can sit around and enjoy it. Fun, a lot of fun. Hear that sizzle? That's what you want. Let's add a little bit more, because what happens, how are you going to make your sauce? When you're making meatballs or any other meat dish or vegetable dish, you want to think about your sauce. So what are the flavors that are going to go in here? And how is it going to get, you know, such brilliant and bright flavors, just sort of bold flavors. I don't like subtle stuff. So let's add all of this. And while it's kind of making its way to get all the flavors, I'm going to add things to our meat as well. So some ground beef, and you can use turkey if you want, but you remember to add a lot more spice to that because turkey is a little bit blander than the ground beef. So a bit of salt. I know my bits are rather big bits, so take your pick. Some of our saji masala, which is more like chipotle barbecue combination. It has 7 different spices in it, and so add a bunch. A little bit of turmeric, because these spices are going to add the flavor to everything. Otherwise, what are you going to do? A bit of chili powder. See, it's all covered in spice. That's the great thing. So our onions, I can smell it. It's just so beautiful. And it's all sauteed. What you want to do, you don't want it to be too crisp or brown. So just keep it very lightly sauteed. What happens is it adds a bunch of texture to your recipe. I like texture. So once this is, let's add a bit of garlic. So just a bit more, I know. It's going to be so good. It will be unbelievable. You just don't know yet. Oh no. You can always have a mint. No harm done. Yeah. Like just a little bit more. You're going to love it because again, when you think about your sauce, what are the flavors in there? What is going to make a great sauce? Onions, garlic, tomatoes, and some of the spices. So let's add some tomatoes. I bought the canned tomatoes. You can use the fire roasted. It's one of my favorites kind because it has a lot of flavor in it. Let's add some spices. And you want to add a bit of salt for your sauce. And again, the same spices that we used. So some of the saji masala. Some chili powder. And a little bit of turmeric. Now think about the sauce that we are making. It's going to be just fabulous. Okay, it's going to start cooking. I'm just going to make the meatballs. So just go in and just start mixing all the spices in here. And who doesn't like meatballs? There's so many different versions of it. But this is, I guess, the White Jasmine way. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll finish the sauce and finish the meatballs. So don't go away. Welcome back to White Jasmine Everyday Cooking. As you can see, meatballs are coming together and the sauce is working really well. Just smells so good. I love it. When I cook at home, that's what it is, for me at least, that's what it is about. My house smells wonderful and warm and inviting. And, cooking is supposed to do that for you. So almost done. And once then we can start throwing them in here. And with all that garlic, these meatballs are just going to be so happy. In just a minute, you will see. Almost done. Let's throw that in here. Then I'm going to start making that salad that I promised. So, there. Nice warm sauce. And we have to add some cilantro as well. And sometimes if you like cilantro like I do, I usually add it to the meat as well, and it works really well because it's so flavorful. So what you want to do is just kind of turn them over just one time so that it cooks all sides. Now we'll start chopping the vegetables for our salad. I also want to show you our couscous, which is, I think it's ready. So let's check it out in a minute. And what you want to, yes, it is ready. What you want to do is kind of turn it over just gently from the sides. You can see it's just beautiful looking. I like it. And look at the color of the vegetables and everything else in here. And the grains are supposed to be separated, and that's what you want. So, when I added the liquid has to just be a little bit, on top of your couscous. So if you are a measurer, there will be recipes up on our website. You can follow that or just eyeball it like I do. So let's set this aside. One down. Let's add a bit of cilantro. So take a big bunch, like this, and just roll it. You don't have to worry about taking all the leaves out, and don't waste your time on all that. Just kind of roll it. Everything has a lot of flavor. Even the stalks have a lot of flavor and some texture as well. And just chop it. Oh, it smells so good. And throw all of it in here. See sort of the final layer of your flavors. And it's going to look pretty. I like beautiful food because, who wants ugly food anyway? Especially if you're trying something new, it has to be pretty. Just mix it together and we'll leave it for a few minutes. Looking good. Okay, let's work on our salad now. Some red pepper, some green onions, cucumber, some tomatoes. And for this, salad, you want to get like the firm tomatoes, so not the squishy ones, because then it's going to be all, your salad is going to be all squishy. And a sharp knife. And I think we talked about it in our class, right, about the sharp knife. So I like to sharpen my knife at least once a week. Please do that because there's nothing worse in a kitchen than a blunt knife. Well, there could be other things worse than that, but I think that without a sharp knife, you cannot cook well. So and the tomatoes are really the test of how sharp your knife is. If you can cut it nicely, you're good. So then your cucumber. And again, leave the skin on, and the texture, it has a lot of flavor as well and a lot of nutrients. Why take that skin off? Just leave it alone the way it is. Just chop it up and we'll start putting it in a bowl. And then for the dressing, I usually like to keep it very simple because what you don't want to do is really, the dressing should complement your vegetables. It shouldn't take over. So that's the idea. Very light, just, a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of lime juice. And you're good. At least keep the original taste of all the vegetables together. It's there. And of course, with the lime as well, you just want to kind of make sure that it's soft enough so you can squeeze out all the juice, really. You don't want those hard ones because then you can't get any juice out. So we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll put this salad together and this whole meal together. So hang in there. Welcome back to White Jasmine Everyday Cooking. We are almost done here. So my salad is going to be put together, and then I'll show you what we made today. And again, these recipes are just very simple. You know, a lot of times I hear from people from our audience that, oh, you make it look so easy. Well, it's not that I make it look easy, that's what I'm doing right in front of everyone. So there is, whatever is happening here, if you can do it at home, it will be very easy for you too. So don't be scared of cooking, just dive in. And how bad can it be, you know? I mean, what is the worst that could happen? There's always fast food. I mean, this is America after all. You can always find food somewhere. So nobody's going to get hungry. So just try it. And you know, you never know what you're going to find. So some green onions. Let's bring this bowl over here. I'm going to start adding everything. And you can add whichever vegetables you have at home, you know, it's okay. Just make it up to whatever it turns out to be. It's going to be fine. Bit more tomatoes. One more. And then I wanted to add some garbanzo beans to it because that's one of my favorite ingredients because it just is very good for you, first of all. And it just adds that subtle flavor with everything else. So what you want to remember is that what goes with what. So if you spend some time, if you're learning to cook, I would really suggest that spend some time just learning your ingredients because that will go a long way. So let's add red onion. Bit of that. And you know, once you know your flavors, you can always put together your own recipes. That's the key, really. So there. The salad is looking very colorful and nice. Okay, a bit of our, well, let's take all of this out. Just kind of mix it together, a little bit of salt I'm going to add. Then we have to add a little bit of our red pepper. Don't be shy about adding salt to your diet because your body still needs it. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of, you know, don't eat salt, don't do this, don't do that. Just have everything but in moderation. You know, what's wrong with that? You can't miss out on flavors. A little bit of olive oil. Some of our garbanzo beans go in here. Starting to look pretty hearty, actually. So what I need to add is just this red pepper. And then a bit of lime juice, and we are ready to serve. So keep it simple, keep it beautiful, and life is always going to be good. A little bit more. Let's look at our meatballs. I think they should be ready by now. Pretty much. And see this, look at the sauce. It has so much texture and just these beautiful ingredients. You're just going to love it. So let's plate it out. If you want to have less sauce, which I don't know why you would want to, but if you want to just kind of keep it, you know, on this sort of high heat for a little while, and you will get that. So let's plate it out. A little bit of our couscous. Here's our meatballs, and look at that beautiful sauce. And some salad. I hope you get a chance to try these recipes at home. If you have any questions, please let us know. We like to address them right away so you can keep cooking. And we'll see you next week.